Anything you wanted to share as we're getting started? Anything shifting around you with?
Well, Ed commented today that he goes, something has, I don't know if he used the word shifted or transpired. He's like, we've something like we've gotten to another layer of intimacy kind of a thing.
Oh, interesting. Was there something new that arose since we last spoke last week?
Um, Not really.
Okay. I didn't know if you had a conversation with him to invite him to remind you to do like your breathing technique, the Muse
Oh, I
method.
did. I did tell him that.
Okay.
Um, we went to the open on Friday, and as I was walking in, I was like, "Oh fuck, I forgot to talk to my brain and do the Muse method." But it was fine. There weren't any issues, you know.
Yeah.
I like kind of got dressed up and I put makeup on, so I felt confident in myself that I didn't need to be intimidated by any other women, you know.
Okay. I want to acknowledge, even if you didn't do it, the fact that you had that remembrance as you're walking in, you're like, oh crap, I was going to do that, like as a preventative, be connected to yourself. But what I did hear you say is, in a way, like you putting your makeup on and like getting, so you felt confident in yourself was a way of like you connecting.
Correct.
So that's really awesome, Bonnie.
Yeah.
And how was the experience for you, like being vulnerable and like letting Ed in and just inviting him to like support you in a different way, like to ask to remind you to do the Muse method or breathing when you get stuck in the insecurity?
Yeah, it was fine. It was just a general ask.
Okay.
He didn't like, I think I asked him. God, it's just everything seems to be blurring together. I don't know. Maybe I might have to ask him again. I don't know.
Okay. Well, cool.
Yeah.
And like, what did it bring up anything for you as he said that you guys got to this new layer of intimacy?
Well, I mean, like, I made him an egg sandwich this morning and he was like so appreciative of that. I'm like, oh, before you go, please let me make you this, And he said that that helped him out because he usually doesn't eat breakfast. But,
Oh,
the thing is I guess this is a little personal, but the new medication I started,
yeah.
Cymbalta,
Yeah.
it's like supposed to help with anxiety and pain. Well, of course, it has sexual side effects.
Okay.
And so it's only been 2 fucking weeks, and
Yeah.
I'm already like, so it's kind of frustrating when we're making out,
Uh,
you know, and of course he said, "Oh, is it me? Do you need somebody else?" Of course he says shit like that. I'm like, "No, I'm pretty much think it's the medication."
yeah.
But, we got through that and, we're like working through it together, I guess.
Well, I'm also hearing another layer of intimacy where you're sharing, that like it's got some side effects. Is it like that it's affecting other things than just the anxiety and like the benefits it might be bringing, but there are some side effects with it.
Correct. And I wonder like if it's worth it to take the medicine if it's going to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Only you know, Bonnie. So I mean, it's only 2 weeks. Is it helping in the other areas, like with the anxiety and with some of the other things that you had mentioned?
it seems kind of like so. Like I just kind of feel like a little numb, which is fine. I'd rather be that than like overly anxious and,
So you're noticing it is maybe a little bit numbing.
yeah.
So I'm hearing it's numbing like maybe the anxiety, so you're not overly anxious, but it's also numbing you sexually.
Correct.
So it's like, well, because I don't know if this is true for you, but like if you're this medication can't just affect the anxiety, it's going to affect all of you. So if it's numbing the anxiety, it's numbing all of you to some extent.
Right.
So I guess you just need to be with like, is this going to be supportive for you in your journey? Because what if the anxiety is actually here for you so that you could choose something different? And I don't know what that is, but like to breathe some new life into you, and it's here so that you're like for you to listen to your body and like what's showing up for you.
Right. Yeah.
And like, what if, and I don't know if this is true, but what if like numbing the anxiety is actually like lessening that communication that your body's trying to share with you?
Yeah, it could be.
Okay. So just keep noticing, and if that's the case, because I know you're still in a new relationship, like with listening to your body and like honoring when there's pain there and not trying to run away from it. Um, and it's interesting because I think it's only been like 3 weeks since like that really landed with you, or maybe four.
Uh-huh.
And after, so it's been 4 weeks. So 2 of those weeks now you're on the Cymbalta. So it's like you really only had full connection to your body for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I'm on other medications,
Right.
so
Right. This is just another one to support other things.
right.
But the other one,
Right.
yeah.
Um, so I don't know. So
Okay.
I don't know what he meant by another layer of getting close to me, you know?
Well, I heard a little bit of it even when you said with the intimacy piece that you kind of let him into like what was happening for you, that like this might be a side effect and you might need a little bit more support to like to support you to get, to a different place.
Right. Right. And I mean, I don't know if you call it slipped, but I had a spot over yesterday and he said, "Oh, I'm going to go to the 11 o'clock open at Serenity House." And that just makes me anxious, him going out and about and, you know,
Yeah.
and he was late because he forgot his phone. He went back and I was getting anxious, there you go. I was getting anxious because he wasn't coming home.
Okay.
And then I asked him, "Oh, was the girl with the Eagles hat there?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "No." And then later on, he's like, "Oh, you're accusing me of the girl in the Eagles hat." I said, "No, I wasn't accusing you. I was just asking if she was there." And
Right.
he's like, "Didn't you say she was like 20 years old?" I said, "Yeah, I guess it's not that big of a deal."
Yeah.
But I
So
had to ask. And I don't know, if I had a little more restraint, I wouldn't have asked. It wouldn't have mattered.
what did it, but by you asking, what did that create for you? By you asking if she was there, what did that create for you?
Some reassurance that he wasn't like looking at her or something.
Okay, so it created a, like what I'm hearing is like that reassurance, a sense of security of like, okay, maybe I don't need to worry.
Right.
And then he further went on to say, isn't she only like 20? Like there's a little bit of a gap between us.
Yeah.
So it's not like, yes, she might be young but that's not maybe his type of person anymore.
Yeah. And he reminded me, he goes, "Everybody at Serenity House knows you and I are together." I mean,
Right. But the anxiety keeps showing up for you because what if it's here to show, say, Bonnie, there's a new way. But when you feed the anxiety with like what I hear you saying, that you didn't feed the anxiety. What you did is you built in a sense of security by asking the question rather than staying in your mind and feeding the anxiety with like, what if she was there? What if he was talking to her? What if, right? So that would be like you feeding the anxiety by you continuing to stay in your mind and letting it take over you, as opposed to you voicing it this time. And I hear you, but what if you're still in the process of opening up the possibilities right now and you need that sense of security for you to be more secure in yourself in this moment? So what if it isn't wrong? What if it was just like, this is helping me to be secure in myself right now. Even though
Right.
where you want to go in the future is where you don't like talk about it, where you don't bring that up, where you trust Ed and you trust like you're confident in yourself.
Right.
So this might be just like kind of the in-between step of right now you need that security. So you're going to ask for that reassurance right now. And it's not about Ed, it's really about you kind of coming back home to yourself in a sense.
Mm,
Is that true? Does that feel true?
I guess so, unless it's just this trying to, he calls it trying to control him, you know?
But what if, like, I hear you and I hear Ed, but what if Ed is what you focus on to take the pressure off of you of not being confident in yourself and secure in yourself? So you focus on Ed and this other woman,
Right.
which it kind of distracts you from really, focusing on you.
Right.
So that's why I said it's not really about Ed, and it is, but it isn't because it's you just being more confident in yourself. And the fact that you're able to voice it tells me it doesn't have the same control over you as in the past, where you have it's amped up inside of you, and then you start accusing Ed and you taking it out on Ed in ways that you normally wouldn't. But the anxiety is so amped up in you, then it kind of just like throws up all over Ed.
Mm,
So like to me, what I hear is there's a step of progress here because you're actually voicing and being vulnerable and letting Ed in, and maybe that's just part of it. It's not about control, and it is about control because it's like it's you can't control that. Even if she was there, there's nothing you could do, right?
If he said yes, I would have gone on to say, did you talk to her? And then that might have sparked an argument.
Right. Because
But he
that
said no.
right. But all of that is outside of your control.
Yeah.
And it can be hard when you don't have control. So where does your control actually end?
At my fingertips.
Right. So by you asking Ed, like it's building security, but is it doing anything else for you by asking?
Yeah, it's just reassurance.
Okay.
Like, oh, nothing to be threatened by and no big deal.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So is it also like I don't know how to say this. There's a word I'm looking for of like you said, nothing to be threatened by. But I'm curious, does that feel like you trust yourself in that moment? Because you're putting what I hear is you're also putting power outside of you. Like, do you trust yourself that like to be confident in you?
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, maybe part of me doesn't trust him, you know? It's just like a thing I have with men, you know?
So what if that's true? What if you don't fully trust him?
Yeah, I guess so.
And then I'm curious, do you fully trust yourself
In what way? I don't
in general? Do you feel like you trust yourself to have your own back and to be there for yourself no matter what?
partially, you know, maybe not completely.
Okay. So what if we're working on you learning to trust yourself, which by you trusting yourself, now you feel it gives you more trust in Ed because you trust yourself that you're going to have your own back, regardless of what Ed does.
Right.
Because if, like, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if Ed were to do something wrong that is out of integrity with who you want to be in relationship with, would you have your own back and say, I don't want to be in relationship with you anymore because you just crossed the line? You,
He wouldn't cheat on me, I know that, but like he
yeah.
would would he talk to the ladies? Would he?
Right. And you've shared he is social and he is out there. That's just part of his.
Right.
So can you honor that and let him be Ed and trust in who you are? And if he wants to be in a relationship with you, he will.
It took a certain amount of letting go just to have him go to the meeting, and like not really
Yeah.
care about it. But then he didn't come home as soon as I thought he would. And then I was like, hey, where are you? And
Yeah. And what was like when Ed was gone at the meeting, what were you working on? What were you doing?
I was working with a sponsee. We were going through the big book.
Okay. So that was done before he got home, right? Is that what I'm hearing? Okay. So
Yeah, we finished early and then I had some time and I was just a little like, doo, doo, doo.
I'm curious after your sponsee left or you finished up with the big book, did you connect with yourself and do the Muse method to come back home to you?
No.
Okay. So what if in those moments when you're like, oh, I wonder if Ed's coming home, where are you? You rather than texting him, you start to come home and connect to yourself and you do the Muse method and say, I value me and I'm going to show up for me right now because I'm giving away my power essentially by focusing in on Ed on something I cannot even control.
Right.
What could that do for you if you just started connecting with yourself and then you text him after? Maybe that's what happens, but you connect with yourself and ask your muse like what do I need for support? What would be supportive for me right now? And you go do that. What could that do for you?
It could lessen the anxiety, I think.
Okay. Would you want to try experimenting with that this week of like connecting with yourself maybe more and doing the muse method more, especially when your thoughts start to go about Ed and like what's Ed doing? Who's he talking to?
Yeah.
So, and then would you be also ask your muse after you do it, like, what would be supportive for me right now? And like go and do that thing or whatever it is.
Or like we have a Super Bowl party on Sunday and there's going to be a bunch of women there. So I wonder what kind of intention I should set beforehand or if I was to do the Muse method beforehand, what is my intention,
Yeah. Well, what if your intention just by doing the muse method is all that you need right now? Is connecting and expanding into more of body, more of your power, more of who you are, and being more
Yeah,
confident because there's going to be other women there. You already know that. And you
yeah.
just your power ends here. So what if you keep coming home to you and anytime your brain starts to look at all these other women, you go and you take a moment, go to the bathroom and do the muse method.
Okay, yeah.
Because does that, what is like, what do you notice in your head, body, whatever it is? And if you don't notice, that's okay. When your focus goes to these other women at a meeting or at Super Bowl parties, whatever it is, is there anything you notice if you could think back?
Like a disconnection from myself. Like all of a sudden I'm not important. I'm not,
Oh,
you know,
okay. So
yeah,
it's that disconnection from yourself. Like the moment your focus goes to them and oh my God, they're more beautiful or whatever, it's your disconnect from yourself. And then it kind of reaffirms almost that you're not important, that you don't matter.
right,
So what if that is your reminder, like when your attention goes to them to be like, okay, I do matter. I value myself as I'm going to come home and connect to me and show up as me. And you could do that in public because I know we talked about that at a meeting, just putting your hands on your legs, closing your eyes for a breath. And then if you need to leave the space because it feels like it's just your energy keeps going to them and like these other women being there, maybe you just need to take a beat for yourself
hmm,
to get out of that energy. Because it's almost like it's like a vacuum. It like pulls you in and then it disconnects you from yourself. And then there's like it's like you're not important. You don't value yourself in that moment because they're all of a
right,
sudden priority and they are so much whatever more than you.
right,
And that's like, what if it's here for you? Because it's like, Bonnie, I love you. I want you to come back home and connect with me, like your deepest sense of self, because you matter.
Mm.
And it's like, it's almost getting you out of that fight, like you were talking about last week, that Ed said sometimes it feels like it's a fight to love you. So what if it's
Mm.
like that almost, this is an example of the fight. Like you, the energy goes outside of you. Your brain goes to, oh my God, these other women. There's the fight. Because now you've disconnected from yourself and you're like, they are more important. They matter more. Okay, no, that's not true.
Right.
Does that resonate with you to try to start practicing?
Yeah, if I could remember to do it, yeah.
Okay. Uh, well, is there anything, and if you don't know, might be where you start to notice once again that happens before you start to go down the downward spiral of disconnecting from yourself and putting all your energy on these other women. Like, is there like a thought that happens, or is there something else that happens in you that could be like your check engine light?
Yeah, just focusing on them and,
Okay.
you know, thinking that Ed might be looking at them and feeling threatened by them.
Okay.
Um,
And does that, when you feel threatened by them, does that show up anywhere in you? But you might be disconnected, so you might not notice it, and that's okay.
right.
Do you notice it?
Usually it's like a tightness in my chest and a spinning
Okay.
in my head.
Ooh, okay. Tightness in your chest and a spinning in your head. So,
Right. Because I'm in my thoughts, so my head's spinning, you know?
yeah. So, what if that's your check engine light? Is the tightness in your chest, like that contraction of like your heart shrinking because you've disconnected and you like in that moment when you're spinning in the thoughts, I'm not important, I don't matter. It's like that shrinking of your heart, like it's tightening. It's like, it's almost like a grasping for something that you can't control. Because you said you're like, you feel threatened, you focus on the other women, and then you have the thoughts around, is Ed looking at them? So, like, all of those little signs could be your check engine light up. I need to do the Muse method because this isn't about Ed. It's about you not valuing yourself in that moment.
Right.
Because Ed might be looking at the game and they might just be next to the TV. But as soon as your mind is so zoned in on it, that's all you can see is the women next to the TV and Ed is looking at them, which isn't even maybe true at all. So would you be willing to just, when you notice that you're in the spinning thoughts, the tightness in your chest, you're feeling that sense of being threatened, or you're worried about Ed, would you be willing to, when you remember, to do the Muse method and connect and value yourself?
Yeah, I could probably go to the bathroom and do it.
Okay. Because I wonder if if these opportunities or these invitations are coming up for you now because this part of you that doesn't feel like you're important or matter wants to be seen and met and supported.
Right.
But when you stay in that cycle, it's like you're fighting that part of you and you're not loving yourself in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to going to the party, you know. Usually it might cause a little anxiety, but I'm looking forward to going.
Yeah. And then, so if you already know that, and this could be another opportunity to practice, if you forget, it's okay. Maybe do the preventative Muse method before you even get there. And if you're noticing some anxiety rising up in your body, practice opening up, like breathing life into it. Okay,
Right.
what do I need to do if I'm feeling this anxiety? I need to get outside for a moment. I need to go to the bathroom. Like, have a game plan of the things that you might do if the anxiety is rising up in you.
Okay.
I don't know what the weather's going to be like. So that's why it's like you literally checking in that day to discover what could be supportive for you.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes even having conversation with other women, if they're safe, and I don't know if they are, of like, yeah, I feel insecure when I'm in with other women. When, my boyfriend's here and I'm with other women, I feel insecure. And you start to name like your experience. I don't know if it's safe with these women. I'm not saying that's what you need to do. I just wonder. Because it's almost as if it takes away your power in a sense, right? When the insecurity
Uh-huh.
arises. So when it
There's
takes,
one woman there that's going to be there that I would trust with that
okay,
information, but all the other women, no, I'm not close enough with them.
okay, would it feel supportive for you to maybe even just have a conversation with her to like name something, like take her out of the room or take her away from the other women, if that feels supportive, to maybe say something just to what you're essentially doing by doing this is you're kind of putting a light on the shadow. The anxiety
Okay.
is the shadow, the insecurity is the shadow, and you're not letting it multiply like gremlins in the darkness. Remember the movie Gremlins? They multiply in the darkness. So when you
Ah,
stay in the spinning thoughts, that's what's happening. Like the gremlins are multiplying, and then they're going to keep feeding that story of Ed's looking at these other women. But when you bring it out into the light and you're vulnerable with somebody and you're like, I get really insecure when I'm around all with other women with Ed here. I yeah.
yeah.
And what do you feel like that could create with this woman that you feel safe with?
You just kind of tell on yourself and yeah, kind of let the cat out of the bag, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe she could say something that reassures me, you know?
Yeah. I mean, what if she were to be like, I totally understand. Because is she in relationship?
Yeah,
And what if she was like, yeah, I'm insecure too. I have some jealousy. Like just hearing somebody else isn't like is going through something similar as you and they are also insecure.
yeah,
And you're just bringing it out so that you're saying, okay, you don't have control over me, insecurity. I'm not going to let you rule this time and take me out of receiving, like being in community.
right,
Because it's what I'm hearing, Bonnie, is when that happens, when you get stuck in the spinning thoughts and the tightness in your chest and you feel threatened, it disconnects you from yourself and from everybody else.
right.
And what is like, do you want to be disconnected from yourself and everybody else, or what are we moving you towards?
No, I want to feel connected.
Okay. So connected to yourself, and do you want to feel connected to others?
Yes,
Okay. So it might feel uncomfortable at first, like doing this a new way, but what if it's helping you to come back home and be connected to yourself? So then, because now you're connected to yourself, you can be more connected to everybody else. And now you're even feeling a little bit more confident because you're connected to yourself. You're not worried about everybody else and threatened. You're like, this is me. I'm going to be me here.
right.
It could change that whole dynamic at the party just by you being in relationship to yourself differently.
Mm.
So maybe do the preventative muse method if you remember. Maybe put an alarm. Would that be supportive on Sunday? Put an alarm on your phone to do the muse method before you go?
Yeah, well, I have it set for 10 a.m., 2:30 p.m., and 9 p.m.
What time's the party?
I think like 4 or 5.
Okay. Well, you could even set a special alarm, like set a new alarm for Sunday only, even, and have it set up to go off at 4 or something before you leave or before you get there.
Right. Party's at 4:30.
Okay. And it takes a little time to drive there. Would you want to do it in the car or before you leave?
Yeah, I could do it in the car.
Okay. Are you setting an alarm for Sunday then?
Uh, no, I don't know how to set an alarm for one day. I
You have
have, let me see here.
an iPhone,
Oh,
right?
I guess I can set one for, uh,
Yeah, it's under the
I'll
repeat.
do it that day. I'll remember.
Okay, it's under the repeat option. If you change like to every Sunday, this alarm will go off every Sunday, and then you can turn it off after this at 4 o'clock.
Oh, I see. Every Sunday.
Yep. And then do it at 4:15, whatever time feels the best for you, so that you can connect and maybe change the label instead of alarm, put muse method or connect. Whatever's going to remind you to connect with yourself.
Yeah, I got it. It's oh, label.
Yeah, right under label. Then you can change
Oh,
the name.
got it. Yep. Okay, so that's good. So it's a set at 4:15.
Okay, awesome. And then just
Okay,
notice how how the party is after you start the party from a place of connection. And if you need to do it more often at the party, do it. Like when you're feeling threatened and you feel the tightness in your chest, the spinning thoughts. Oh, my muse wants me to remind me that I matter and I love myself.
right.
Okay, I'm gonna remember right now. And if you don't remember, just notice what happens when you don't remember. It's not wrong.
Okay. Okay. Jenny, I have to take a quick break. I'll be right
Yeah,
back.
end of the restroom. I
Okay.
can tell you were getting a little antsy.
Okay.
Okay, better.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other position changes you need for now?
Oh, wait, let me see here. Somebody messaged me real quick. Hold on. Oh, sorry. Somebody just reached out to me. I have to.
You have to get back to them right away.
Hi. Okay. Okay, we can go on.
Okay. All right. How does like for the party, do you feel supported in that space for right now?
Yeah,
Okay. And
I
if you,
think I'll be okay, but that's a good reminder to do it before and during
yeah,
and pull my friend aside
yeah,
if I'm having trouble.
awesome. And what I also, by doing that, what I hear is you're opening up the door for other people outside of Ed to let other people in and be vulnerable, to name that. That's really,
Yeah, yeah.
it's you trusting yourself more is really what I'm hearing by you doing this.
Okay, yeah.
Because you know who's safe and who's not. So you trust yourself and you're like, I'm going to share with somebody that's safe so that I don't keep feeding more insecurity that disconnects me. I want to feed more connection and being secure.
Correct.
Oh, okay. Um, was there something else you wanted to bring into our space to explore together today?
Uh, I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Oh, I cleaned out one of those drawers. Remember, I was gonna clean
Yeah.
out, it was the top drawer of my vanity in my
Yeah.
bathroom.
Yeah.
I threw out so much stuff. It felt good.
Yeah. It felt good. How does the drawer look? Does it feel good for you now?
Well, it's a little messy, but it has like an eighth of the amount of things in it, it's,
Wow.
yeah.
That's kind of huge.
Um, and so I think, and it wasn't so hard. So maybe next time or over the weekend, I'll do the next drawer.
Okay. And just keep like, but did it feel good like just doing it as like a small project? I'm just going to work on this one drawer and get this one drawer done. That's it.
Yeah,
Okay, so you're taking it in more manageable steps. That's really awesome, Bonnie. Because this is an area you use a lot, so it impacts you every day, right?
right.
So I wonder what that might like what that might do for you by having just a little bit more space in this drawer, which I feel like is a representation for you of like creating more space for Bonnie in your life.
Right.
And you got rid of a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of expired lotions and face creams and a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe tackle in another drawer and then just see like once the vanity's done, then what's the next biggest area that is going to impact your life that you can make a small dent in.
Yeah. Hold on, let me message her that I'll get back to her at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you've already started creating more order in your life to have more ease and comfort.
Right. And I wanted to stop like halfway through. I'm like, oh, that's enough. And I'm like, oh, just keep going, you know?
Yeah. But now it's going to start to like because you did this drawer and you're like, it actually wasn't that bad. And I was able to get rid of a lot of crap that I didn't need.
Right. It wasn't so bad.
Right. So now it's like just keep going on the next drawer and then start to make those small impacts throughout your house. Because you said there's clothes, you want more order in your life, there's clutter in your areas.
Right. And then maybe eventually I can tackle the big things like my closet, my clothes, which seems a lot like a lot.
Yeah. And Bonnie, just know I am an organizer. So if you feel like you need that support, just let me know because that's sometimes having somebody else doing it with you, it does streamline the process and it helps to have a third party like that's not
Oh,
attached.
really? Yeah, I might take you up on that offer because it gets overwhelming for me, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, and I just want to acknowledge, Bonnie, when you're living in anxiety, like your brain is always kind of go, 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 go. Like it's in that state of fight or flight a little bit. So when you go into a space that feels too full, it's already overwhelming. So it's hard to even begin. So sometimes when you have somebody else come in and kind of clear out the space so you kind of have a fresh slate to begin with, it can help you to have more ease in choosing what is supportive for you to keep.
Mm,
So it's not wrong. It's you gathering the information from your body and you might need some support and that's okay. But you can work on these small areas that feel manageable. And if you need to, like we talked about, set a timer and be like, nope, I'm only doing it for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever it is. And then just do
right.
it that long and just keep having those small wins and like focus on
Okay.
what's important next. Like after you get that win, okay, what's important next? Not saying you're going to do it now, but maybe Sunday or a different day you're going to work on the next thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, just keep me posted. I know you had mentioned that your psychologist or psychiatrist said that she had thought you should talk to your therapist. Did you have an opportunity? Did anything come up Thursday?
I did say to him, I said, I think it's very odd that I'm working with you because I have an issue trusting men.
Okay. Oh,
And
wow.
he's like, yeah, so then why do you keep coming to me? And I said, because I like pain. And I was like kind of trying to be funny,
Okay.
but then so he asked me about that, like, oh, what about the pain? What do you mean about you like pain, And I'm like, okay, I was kind of trying to be funny, so I don't know, but like, yeah, it's uncomfortable sometimes.
Okay.
Um, but I just continue to work with him, so I don't, and then we just moved on to the next topic, like. So I voiced my discomfort,
Yeah.
but I didn't get any kind of really solution, I guess.
Right. I mean, he did ask you, like, why do you keep coming to me? And your
Yeah.
response was a little bit of a joke, but I'm wondering if there's some semblance of truth in there too, that you like the pain. Well, I'm gonna actually say I don't know if you do because you've learned how to disconnect from the pain in your body for a very long time.
Right.
You've avoided that pain. But in this situation, you are actually choosing uncomfortableness, pain for what? I'm curious. Do you know? And you don't have to. I don't know if you know.
For maybe some good nuggets, or
Okay. What if you could have more ease and you don't have to have and still get some good nuggets? What if you could have more ease where it's not so uncomfortable for you?
you mean going to therapy with him?
Well, or somebody else that you feel more comfortable around.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna stick with him for now. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's like just the whole fact of trying to find a new therapist, how it's so hard, I don't know, but
Yeah. Is that really true? Is it really hard or it just seems hard?
last time I went looking for some, they were all full, but that
Okay.
was a while ago.
Okay. Because does your psychiatrist have any recommendations? I know she said she wanted you to have a conversation with him first, but did she have any recommendations?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that's information. You don't have to change anything. I just wonder what else is possible if you weren't so uncomfortable right when you get there. Because I'm wondering, are you uncomfortable right when you get there, even before anything starts?
Used to the guy. I mean, I think he's okay, you
Okay.
know.
I'm going to
I
be
mean,
here.
he gave me some good advice the last time. Like
Yeah.
instead of like focusing on, Ed talking to another woman or woman, like focus on what do I want? Like
Yep.
what do I want? Do I want to be touched? Do I want to uh, say I love you? Like
Yeah.
go try to get what I'm seeking by like touching Ed's back and being
Right.
engaging with him and you
Yeah.
know.
I'm wondering, do you know what you want in those moments when you're like, is he looking at somebody, do you know what you want?
Sometimes I don't because I'm spinning in the anxiety.
Right. So it's almost as if what he's inviting you is similar to what I'm inviting you to come back home to you and do the muse method and out loud, or when you're in a group, you don't ask out loud, you do it in your head. What would be supportive for me? It's similar. It's a similar thing is you're looking for
Yeah,
what it is you need, but with the muse method, it's at least bringing you back home to yourself so you're connected and you're valuing yourself. And you're like, I'm going to take this moment to pause to be with myself and not make them more important than me.
right.
Because what if that right now, that's where you're still building your foundation of trusting yourself and loving yourself well so that you do know what you want. Because when you're in the thoughts, you don't know what you want. You're so clouded with Ed's energy and these other women that you can't think clearly.
Correct.
And did you see the fog this morning? Was it foggy by you?
A little bit.
Okay. Like this morning, it was like you could barely see through the fog. I drove through Libertyville, so that's why I was wondering if it was by you. Um, but to me, that's an example of like when you're caught in your head, like when there's fog that you can't even see barely the next step. That's kind of what happens for you. You lose
Right.
all clarity on what you want. So this is also it's kind of similar. Like I think the therapist and me are doing similar things, maybe just differently. But I had invited you last week to look for and start to notice the places where you can easily receive love and just notice how that feels when it's received. Did you
Hmm.
were you able to see any places?
Well, Ed looked into my eyes and said, "Your eyes look so nice,
Hmm.
or your eyes look beautiful," or because I was wearing eye makeup. And I said, "Oh, thank you," and I just accepted the compliment.
Yeah. Is there any other places that you notice that you can easily receive love from? I know you had mentioned at work, like when they affirm you and like kind of validate
Mhm.
you. Is there anywhere else that you feel like that's an easy place for you to receive?
With my cats, I guess.
Yeah, okay, there's another place. Well, it was interesting because you said Ed looked into your eyes and said your eyes look beautiful, and then you're like, because I have eye makeup on.
Yeah,
So right there, there was a little judgment. Like, if I didn't have eye makeup on, would he have really said that my eyes are beautiful?
right.
So that's why I'm wondering if you were able to really even fully receive it, because as soon as that judgment comes in, it blocks the flow of love.
Yeah,
So learning to receive, that's part of what we're working on together, is it takes practice. And you said thank you. You received it as much as you could in that moment.
right,
So when the story shows up, that could be another invitation. Thank you, brain. I love you. I look beautiful with or without makeup on.
right,
Because your brain has told you, because of our world, that you have to look a certain way, you have to be a certain way in order to be loved or to be seen. And what if you just
right.
love yourself as you are? But that takes practice.
Uh-huh.
Do you ever, whatever your answer is awesome. Do you ever look in the mirror like looking into your eyes?
Not so much.
Okay. It can be very uncomfortable. So I'll mention that. But you might experiment with that because Ed was gazing into your eyes and said that you look beautiful. And you said thank you. But what if you could really receive it fully without being like, because I have eye makeup on?
Yeah,
And just be like, oh, thank you. Like, and I like to share an example, like from my life, I'll illustrate. My ex-partner, my ex-husband, he could never fully look at me in the eyes because he didn't love himself. He
uh-huh.
uh it was very hard to be him, is what he has told me multiple times. Whereas like my last boyfriend, he loved himself. Like that is something he's been working on his entire lifetime. So when he looked into my eyes, like he really looked into my eyes, and I was like, whoa, this is like a whole different kind of intimacy because he's actually looking into me, and I'm letting.
Right,
But by him being like, by me receiving that from somebody else, I was able to then look at myself in a deeper, more intimate way because I was seen by somebody else. I was like, I want to give that gift to myself. I don't want to receive, like, I don't want it to be a need I need from somebody else. I want to be able to give that to myself. So it might be something you experiment with, and of like, how is it to look in the mirror? Do you look at all
right.
the imperfections? Do you, and just notice if you are looking at all the imperfections, that might not be a good practice for you right now.
Yeah.
But it might be like a practice of looking into your eyes, just as if Ed was looking into your eyes, like looking at you adorningly, of like, wow. And that might take some practice.
Mm-hmm.
So like doing the muse method before you do that might be really powerful. So I hear you taking some big steps, speaking your truth with your therapist, being vulnerable with Ed, um, even just noticing like some of the side effects from your medication. Like to me, what that's telling me, Bonnie, is you're more in tune with your body and you're noticing these things than maybe you would have in the past.
Right.
So it's kind of huge, and you get to keep choosing, is this something you want to be on or not? And just keep, it's a matter of choosing it. But like when the anxiety shows up, because you're on Cymbalta mainly for the anxiety, is that the main reason you're on that one?
Yeah, anxiety, and she said it would help with pain.
Oh, okay. Have you noticed a shift with that too, with the pain?
Maybe a little bit.
Okay. And has like by you learning to be like more connected to your body when you're doing the Muse method, just noticing what's happening, not making the pain wrong, has that shifted anything for you?
No, I like getting into my body now. It's not as doesn't feel as threatening as it did before.
Whoa, Bonnie, that's huge.
Yeah,
You like getting into your body now. You don't disconnect, you don't disassociate, and you're not feeling as threatened.
right,
That's really big. I just want to celebrate that because what that tells me is you're building more trust and safety in yourself and your body
right,
because you're not feeling as threatened anymore. And you actually like getting into your body, as before, that's what you tried to avoid at all costs.
right.
So this is a huge shift in even just a month. What do you notice, like, just by you doing the Muse method, connecting with your body, do you notice anything outside of you changing, like related to your goals or not related to your goals? Is there anything else you're noticing outside of you, like any radiant? I call it radiant, but it means like anything outside of you, your radius, that is shifting because you're more connected and you're listening to your body, or you like being in your body.
Maybe Ed and I are getting along a little better.
Wow.
Maybe, I think so.
Okay. Even just that, because the comments recently with Ed have shifted. Like he's getting to
He-
know new layers of you.
Yeah, he said something has shifted or something is, yeah,
Yeah. And to me, he's mirroring something that's happening inside of you. Like you're more connected and he's feeling that from you.
right,
And it's bringing a little bit more ease in the relationship, which I know we talked about maybe for part of your words for this year, like what you're trying to get to with progress and order is like it'll bring ease and comfort.
right.
So it's creating more ease in your relationship. Ha has the pain shifted at all or no?
Maybe a little.
Okay. Bonnie, for somebody that has chronic pain, even if it's just a little bit, and you're not disassociating from the pain or trying to run away from the pain anymore, is another like huge thing to celebrate.
Yeah, I would think so too. So, but part of me is like, well, if it's the medication that's helping me, how long am I really going to stay on it if it has sexual side effects, you know?
Well, how important is sex for you?
It's pretty important.
Okay, it's pretty important. It's that other layer of intimacy, right?
Right.
So what if it could be the Cymbalta, but what if it's also like you being more connected to yourself, the pain is actually shifting in your body. You're starting to find more ease because you're not as threatened by being in your body.
Right.
So what if it's also, maybe it's the Cymbalta, maybe it's not, maybe it's you being more connected.
Could be.
But it's hard to know when you're on a medication. I'm not saying get off the medication. That is not what I'm saying. Only you have that answer. I don't have that answer.
Right. Right.
So you get to keep weighing, is the sexual side effects more than you want to deal with,
Right.
and numbing yourself. Like, is that something you want to continue with, or do you want to be able to feel what's here?
Well, like I told my therapist or my psychiatrist, I said, I want to not care about things. I want things to roll off my back, you know, like, and not obsess about things and obsessively, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Could when you're obsessing about things, could that be there to show you what matters? But right now, your brain is focused on obsessing about it rather than looking at what really matters to you.
Mm,
Because,
right.
like 2 weeks ago, I don't even remember, 3 weeks ago, I have to look at my notes, but when you had the therapist that you weren't sure if you were going to get back to her, she hadn't responded, all the things. I'm not saying it's because you connected, but because you connected, when you connected, she answered.
Right. And I saw her this weekend. I had a massage. It was really good.
It was really good. That's awesome. But when you're connected, everything else can change. So I wonder if the obsession is what your brain has learned how to do, and it's asking you to meet it in a new way rather than continuing to let the brain obsess over whatever it's obsessing about.
Hmm.
But that's going to take time and practice, like because
Right.
that is something that has been your go-to to protect you for a very long time. It isn't,
Right.
it's protecting you. And could this be true that those obsessing thoughts is protecting you from actually being more connected?
Maybe.
Because if you're obsessing, you can't connect with yourself or anybody else. So what if when you start to notice it, if the obsessing thoughts come on at all, even just a little bit, you're just like, thank you. Like I would invite you when it's even just a little bit to be with them. Thank you. I know you're trying to protect me. I love you. We're doing this a new way. Obsessing is not helping me connect. It's actually disconnecting me. So it's like you're telling your brain, this isn't working. Can you stay curious with me, brain? Stay curious. What do I know?
Right.
Where where do I find connection? Where can I go find connection and go find that connection, whether it's with Ed, whether it's with nature, whether it's with your cats,
Yeah.
and go discover that connection that you're maybe actually seeking, but the brain is just caught in the obsessive cycle and it's in that loop that feels like you're in a hamster wheel that you can't get off of.
Right.
Would you be willing to practice that one too? Of like, even just when they're there a little bit, when you notice the obsessive thinking, to
Yeah.
have that conversation with the brain.
Okay.
And just say, thank you. I know you're trying to protect me, but this is not working anymore.
Okay.
Because it's keeping you away from the connection you're really seeking.
Right.
And you could just tell your brain, and you have lots of proof of how it's kept you away from the connection you're seeking. So let's just be curious, brain. We're gonna be curious. Where can I connect? And just ask where you can connect and see what your body says. So what are you
Okay.
what are you walking away with from our time together today?
To talk to the brain, if I feel that I'm obsessively thinking,
Okay.
where can I find connection? Doing the Muse method before the Super Bowl party and potentially in between. And look for, ease and comfort, progress and order. Maybe do another drawer or something.
Okay. And can we do a quick practice? Do you have time?
Oh, yeah, but I have to get going soon. Someone's gonna call me at 4 here.
Oh, okay. We'll do 30 seconds and I'm going to just invite something in for you to connect before you uh, look outside of you. So we're just going to do
Okay.
the close your eyes, follow your breath, bring your hands to connect, hold your intention to connect and expand as you breathe in trust and safety, and stay here for 20 seconds and I'll guide you to the next step. And now, as you're still connected to yourself, just bring your hands to like hold your own hand as you're connecting to yourself. And just take 2 more breaths here. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Hmm.
How was that? Just connecting and then connecting with like holding your own hand.
Yeah, it was good.
Okay. So yeah, keep practicing those and I'll follow up with the notes and stuff. Are we on for next Monday, same time?
Sure.
Okay. All right. I'll see you at 3 next Monday, whatever the date is, the 10th.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jenny.
You're welcome. Take care,
All
Bonnie.
right, take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.